to the missile defense needs of Hawaii. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator Hirono. Senator Sullivan, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to congratulate both of you gentlemen and your families. I appreciated very much your comments about your families in your opening statements. I think it's a great reminder to Americans that it's not just the people wearing the uniform, it's oftentimes the spouses and the kids behind them who, in my view, have a harder job. So to them, thank you. General Guillot, you mentioned Canada, which I think might puzzle a lot of people. You have a unique command responsibility in terms of NORAD, which has to be nominated by the President and the Prime Minister. You want to just mention it very briefly? I have actually a couple questions about Canada.
Yes, Senator. NORAD is a binational command with the United States and Canada, has been for 65 years, and 65 years of defending the homeland side by side.
So Senator Kaine mentioned the importance of our allies. I couldn't agree more. It's a giant strategic advantage to our national security. I do want to mention, and it's not always polite, but I'm going to do it here anyways. The Wall Street Journal on July 12th had an editorial entitled "Canada is a military free rider in NATO." Mr. Chairman, I'd like to submit that for the record. And it goes on to talk about Ottawa's feeble commitment to the alliance at the Vilnius summit. They should have been put at the kids' table. I was actually at the Vilnius summit last week in NATO. Canada is not even close to its 2% commitment, and it was common knowledge that Prime Minister Trudeau was trying to water down the Vilnius commitment to 2% as a floor, all of which is incredibly disappointing. I hope the Canadians are watching your confirmation hearing. General, you'll be working closely with Canada if confirmed. Can you commit to this committee that you can have discussions with the Canadians and say, hey, look, when you're not supporting NATO, when you're not supporting missile defense for North America, it's actually harmful to the alliance. Americans get frustrated when our allies don't pull their weight. And with regard to NATO, Canada is not even close to pulling its weight. Can you commit to us to have those tough conversations, but important, with your Canadian counterparts?
Yes, Senator, you can count on me to do that. Thank
you. That's really important. You're both Air Force Academy grads, which is great. I'm sure the Air Force Academy is very proud. We're proud. It's awesome. As you know, the father of the Air Force, Billy Mitchell, had a very famous quote. He said, it was actually in front of an armed services hearing in 1935. He talked about one place that actually wasn't a state yet in America, and he called it the most strategic place in the world. Whoever holds this place literally holds the world. Okay, now you guys are Air Force Academy grads. That's the father of the U.S. Air Force. What place was Billy Mitchell referring to?
Alaska, Senator.
Alaska. General, are you good to go with that?
I'm familiar with that, Alaska.
Would you
yes,
confirm that that was Alaska? Good. You passed the test. Thank you. Now, in all seriousness, two issues I just want to talk briefly about Alaska. We talked about domain awareness. General Van Herk's been great on domain awareness. But when it comes to domain awareness, whether it's hypersonics or cruise missiles or balloons, where are they? What's the avenue of approach if our adversaries are going to attack New York City, Miami, Chicago? It doesn't matter. Where are they coming through?
Senator, almost any avenue of approach to the homeland comes over the Arctic.
Right. So when we talk about domain awareness, where do we need to beef that up in particular?
Senator, first and foremost, it needs to be the Arctic.
So America's an Arctic nation because of what state?
Alaska.
So
Senator.
When you're talking about beefing up in the Arctic, you're talking about beefing up in Alaska, correct?
Yes, sir, and to your previous point, to talk to our Canadian counterparts about
and hopefully they'll pay for that at some point.
Radars there as well.
Yeah, they're not very good at paying for missile defense either, even though we protect the whole North American continent. Let me ask the final question. With regard to the Arctic, we have huge strategic interests as a country in the Arctic. Natural resources, transportation routes, strategic locations, you mentioned the environment, people. The NORTHCOM commanders, in my experience, have gone from, you're the advocate for the Arctic. have gone from essentially disinterest when I got here 8 years ago to increasingly strong interest. I think General Van Herk's done a great job. And yet, the Pentagon has been the one agency in all of Washington, D.C. that, in my view, has kind of not really focused. So the reason America and our national security and even the Pentagon are now focusing in the Arctic is almost all from this committee, where we have put it every year in the NDAA, including this requirements. Hey, guys, wake up. Pentagon, wake up. We got big strategic interests in the Arctic. Last year, Senator King and I got the Arctic Security Initiative in. Pentagon fought that, by the way. Icebreakers, ports in Nome, all these presence, resources, issues we put in, not the Pentagon. So can I get your commitment to work with this committee to be 110% focus on the Arctic? To be honest, it's been a little tiring to have to go to the Pentagon and say, hey guys, focus here. Well, we're not really focused here. Then we put it into law. It would be better if you guys could help us. And again, General Van Herk's been great, but can you continue that commitment to work with this committee on the critical issues in the Arctic, particularly as deals with Russia and China?
Senator, you have my commitment.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.